Stage. We are thankful for our partnership with Smithsonian Folklife Festival. Tonight, Sweet Spot Aerial Productions and Streetlight Circus will deliver a thrilling presentation. For more information about tonight's performers, please visit their promotion table near our exiting stanchions. Now, please welcome to the stage Sweet Spot Aerial Productions and Streetlight Circus.
Good evening and welcome. On behalf of Streetlight Circus and Sweet Spot Aerial Productions, welcome to the circus among us. It is an honor to be here at the Kennedy Center Millennium stage, and we are thrilled to help kick off the Smithsonian Folklife Festival. This is an exciting time for the circus arts, a time that is inspiring innovation and creativity, not to mention a little bit of conversation, as the circus transforms and changes to amaze and entertain new generations. As our gaze shifts away from the circus spectacles of the past, we are now even more captivated by the circus arts, and more importantly, the circus artists, those talented individuals who are creating the magic you will see before you tonight. Circus truly is an art form. Every individual, every movement, every pose, every apparatus is creating and inspiring. And creating art isn't only for the professionals. We see circus as inclusive and accessible, not limited only to the person on stage who might be performing their 100th show, but also for that student who is learning how to connect their physical, their mental, their emotional bodies. One of the things we all love about the circus arts is how they create opportunities for every individual to grow stronger in ways that extend far beyond the physical. So as we embrace the changes of the circus world, rest assured that the art isn't going anywhere. It is only growing stronger, and it's always been the heart and the soul of circus. Again, thank you for joining the circus among us. So our first act tonight features an artist on a rope. Yes, that's a rope. So you might be looking at it and think, all right, that's functional. But for a circus artist, a rope becomes a creative challenge. It can be a prop, it can be an accessory. It's something we can manipulate, or perhaps we can allow to manipulate us. Please welcome circus artist Montana DeBoer. The trapeze, perhaps one of the more celebrated acts of the traditional circus. Our minds might immediately go to the daring young man flying through the air. We all know the song. Has anyone ever taken a flying trapeze class? Yeah, I like to see those hands. We do have a school down by National Park. But forget about the flying trapeze. The trapeze is also a solo act, a static or a spinning apparatus for an artist to work with. And here, our performer will be connecting the art of dance with the art of trapeze. Please welcome circus artist Thomas Martin.
Take all the love you're given through the gap in the wall. Seal it tight with a light blue ribbon, then unlock the door. But your ego won't let you love. Your fear is your downfall. If you won't take the love you're given, then at least let me go. Please 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 let me go. I've been trying to give you my love, but you won't let me, won't let me. I've been trying to give you some space, but you won't let me, won't let me. I've been trying to save you the trouble, but you won't let me, won't let me. I've been trying to give you my love. Don't feed the solace within you and allow it to grow. Cause when the leaves that blossom become you, they'll turn back and they'll fall. I promise if you're gonna let me out, I won't stay as you go. If you take my love, you'll give up. I will leave you alone. I will leave you alone. I will leave you alone. I'm trying to give you my love, but you won't let me, won't let me. I'm trying to give you some space, but you won't let me, won't let me. I've been trying to save you the trouble, but you won't let me, won't let me. I've been trying to give you my love, but you won't let me, won't let me. I've been trying to give you my love, but you won't let me, won't let me. I've been trying to give you some space, but you won't let me, won't let me. I've been trying to save you the trouble, but you won't let me, won't let me. I've been trying to give you my love,
There are some circus art apparatus that go by multiple names. For example, if I throw out an aerial hoop, what's another name for an aerial hoop? Anyone? Lyra. Yes, I hear from the voice over there. What about if I say tissue? Yes, aerial silks. So our next act, aerial sling, is also known as aerial hammock. And how relaxing in this summer night does a hammock sound right about now? However, I'm sure you all know an aerial routine is anything but relaxing for the performer. But yet, the ability of a professional to make what they are doing, those challenging moves, those different transitions look effortless, that is truly a gift, as our next performer is about to demonstrate. Please welcome circus artist Marc Harding. For those of us who live here in Washington, D.C., we're all used to keeping entirely too many balls up in the air. I know if you're anything like me, I'm always dropping one thing or another. But our next performance embraces the challenge of keeping many balls in the air, or maybe clubs, boxes, hats, hoops, you name it. Whether working as a solo artist or with a team of fellow jugglers, Christian takes something that seems so familiar to us because we all know what juggling is, yet he makes us feel like we're seeing it for the very first time. Please welcome circus artist Christian Klock. All right, guys, who out there is strong? Everyone show me those muscles. Let's see. Y'all CrossFit out there? Yeah? So there is strong, but then there is circus strong, or at least that's what all of us circus artists like to tell ourselves anyway. The strength involved in all of the aerial arts can be remarkable, and aerial straps is no exception. One of the things an artist can do exceptionally well is to bring elegance, grace, beauty, and style even to the most physically demanding poses and transitions. So see for yourself. Please welcome circus artist Elizabeth Finn. So with the Smithsonian Folklife Festival bringing a focus back to the circus arts, how many people out there were surprised and impressed to learn about what a thriving circus scene we have right here in Washington, D.C.? I know, right? It's pretty exciting. I definitely encourage you to take a look at your programs. The performers that you are seeing here tonight are DC-based. Many are teaching at a variety of different studios and locations across the area. Who knows, maybe the next circus star, maybe the next performer at our next show is sitting out there tonight. You're your first class away from a career in the circus arts yourself. Be sure to check out those bios, and we hope to see you in a class. No, even you. So, forget about all the apparatus and the props and all that good stuff. We don't need props when we have each other to lean on, right? or maybe to lift, or maybe to support another person as a base while we hold a handstand for 30 to 45 seconds, something like that. So you're about to see a little bit more about the wonder of the human body, or perhaps even bodies. So if you want to know what happens when you take not one, not two, but 3 skilled acrobats, put them together to create a little bit of magic mixed with a little bit of circus and perhaps a little bit of fun. Please welcome circus artists Dana Karash, Mandy Keithan, and Mike Paskowitz. Creating an act, a performance, a routine, it's a constant exploration. It truly is a creative process. And many of our artists, including our next performer, work with multiple formats and apparatus, evolving their movement and art to fit each piece. Perhaps it not only adds to the creativity, but sometimes adds a little bit to the challenge as well. Our next performer will be on aerial fabric. Please welcome circus artist Elise Saipos. Thank you again for coming. But before you go, the show's not over yet. We invite you all to ask our performers, our circus artist, questions, either about their performance today, how they got started in the circus arts, where they teach, how someone, even like you, can get involved in all of this. So I believe we're going to get some seats for everyone. And we'll go ahead and get started. So start brainstorming those questions. Thank you again for the applause. How awesome are all of our performers tonight? So as our performers get settled, let's see a show of hands. Who wants to kick off with some questions? Yes, sir, you right there in the front. And Kathy over here is going to be bringing a microphone.
I have a question for Christian Cluck.
Our amazing juggler. Let's give another round of applause for Christian.
I wonder, when your parents asked you to imitate the Three Stooges in home videos and how that went?
So it was me. It was more inspired by my two older sisters. I'm going to call them the Stooges in this situation. But they were both dancers, so they really inspired me to be a good person of movement on stage as well as a juggler. And I also think that Three Stooges are, in their own way, a great example of incredible movement and very good circus comedic movement. So that was one of my favorite moves, was lying on the ground and going in a circle. Right. So you've seen that one before. Yeah.
Thank you. Your dad wanted me to ask you that question.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Excellent. Who else has a question for any of our performers? Yes, our friend over there.
How can you do that?
How can you do that? That is an excellent question. So why don't we turn that one to Elizabeth? Elizabeth, our amazing aerialist performing on the aerial straps, Circus Strong.
I'm going to say years of practice, mostly. I think that applies to most of us. And expert coaching.
Anyone else have anything to add? How you do this? Perhaps how your acts evolved from the casual student to when you realized, this is something that I want to devote a little bit more time and energy and consider a more professional track. Elise, at the end, do you?
You have to be ready to spend a lot of time doing stuff you don't like in order to do the things that you do really love. And if you love it that much, then all of those other parts make sense. And if it makes sense enough, and a lot of stars align, then it's something worth putting a lot of time into.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any other questions out there? Yes, I see someone on the stairs who is raising their hand.
Right here. So I was impressed with the music for each of the performances, and I wondered if you selected the music and you practice with different kinds of music before you settle on the final version.
Why don't we start that question with Tom Tom?
So for me, when it comes to music selection, everyone listens to music constantly, and once I hear a song that I really connect to, like on some radio station or whatever, I'll like save it to my phone, and then just go and improvise to it, and like video and see what happens, and if like magic happens and something I really like comes with that, then I tend to just keep it and really explore and kind of discover what that is going to kind of evolve into. And that's kind of what happened with this piece, actually.
Who else has a question? I know we have a microphone runner. Kathy, I think we have some folks on the stairs who are anxious to ask after this young lady here.
Thank you very much. You are all so good. And I wonder if you have ever performed in a cruise, like a Royal Caribbean or, all those things. You are so good at that.
I actually don't know the answer to that. Do we have any cruise-based performers here?
If you could help us figure that out.
I would love that.
I'm sorry, I asked the wrong question. Do we have any connections to the cruise industry out here? Leave
I
your
would like to see a
number.
raise of hands.
I'll see you after the show.
But yes, we always are excited to learn when the Circus Arts does explore venues outside of theaters, taking to the high seas, finding new and different audiences around the world. All right. Yes, my dear.
I have a question for Montana Deborah. What?
Yes?
Were you scared when you were coming down the rope?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes, the first couple times, and then after that, not so much. It just takes practice, and then you start to feel more comfortable, and you remember the rap, and you know why it works, and you know where you're going, and you trust your person that is rigging, and after that, it's all pretty good. Good question.
It's pretty remarkable what happens after you do something that scares you a million times. Might scare you just a little bit less. 999,000 still a little iffy, though. All right, who else has some questions? Yes, hello. Kathy's going to run over to you and give you a microphone. Start thinking, everyone. You've been warned.
Hi. First of all, I want to thank you for this performance. It was so, so yummy. Thank you. The second thing I would like to ask, obviously, you make it look so easy, each of your acts. I'd like to know, per act, how long did you practice or rehearse for this performance?
Why don't we ask our acrobatic troupe here?
I actually met these two in the lobby right beforehand.
We'd been looking for a big guy that we could climb on, and we just went for it.
However, to answer your question, we started working on this act last summer, and then since then we keep getting new ideas and ways to make something that used to feel like that was maybe the hardest thing that we could do and make it more complicated and just bring something new to it. So it's been about a year.
And I don't know if anyone has anything different to add with perhaps a solo act. Mark, how long do you train? You work on a variety of different apparatus as well.
That's true, and each apparatus for me kind of evolves at a different pace. The piece you saw tonight, I probably have spent the past 3 weeks very concentrated on working and choreographing it to new music. So that took a history worth of sequences that I've worked both as an instructor as and a performer. And similar apparatus, whether that would be a trapeze or a lyra, any other seated apparatus allows you the same alternatives within the sling. Whereas we are seeing fabric, you then have the live end above you that you can work within. So it was a matter of kind of extracting some of my preferred sequences throughout other performances into this compilation that would work with this piece of music and thus fit within this setting. So years to answer the question of how long you work towards an act, and then it can really be minutes when it all just falls into place, and sometimes that doesn't have a context until it exists on stage in front of you. So the rehearsal is even a process of improvisation until it actually exists for you, and then that kind of is what it is. So it's truly the moment that it exists in is when it is created.
I love hearing about 3 weeks of concentrated work. That's how long it took me to figure out how to walk in these shoes. All right, so who else has questions? We have time for a couple more. Yes.
So I had two questions. So anyone can answer that. So suppose you go on stage and you make a goof up. And most of us don't get it when you're making a goof up because you guys are so awesome. But how do you improvise right at that moment, and what goes to your brain? Like, oh my God, did I make a goof up? Or what goes exactly in your mind that time? And yeah, that's my question.
My goodness, I'm sure that's never happened to any of us. Who wants to go out on a limb and say what they perhaps would do if in fact...
Well, I can say that in our rehearsal process, we train for that extensively by messing up a whole bunch and then making sure we keep going and know how to get back on track. But truly, that is a part of it, that there's a period in the rehearsal where if something goes wrong, we stop, we talk about it, we assess. But then there's a separate section where when something goes wrong, you keep going, and you make sure that you have plans so that we can get back on track and know how to continue from there.
Do you all find that you frequently have perhaps one or two variations on your routine based on perhaps hitting or not quite hitting a key, super challenging move? Yeah? Yeah? All right, any other questions? We have some over here, I see. Oh, and over here.
About how many hours do you work out a week?
Who would like to start with that? How about the strong man? We just need a bearded lady. I'm going to step aside so I'm not confused as that.
I spend extra time in the gym just to make sure I stay healthy enough to be able to do what I do. And then we spend, depending on the week, anywhere between, I don't know, our practice usually lasts between an hour and a half to 2 hours before we all get tired and start dropping each other. And we do that 2 to 3 times a week.
So I know group acts are always challenging because they take a little bit more coordination. It's not just, all right, I'm up, I have an hour to kill, let me go work out. How about some of our solo artists? Any thoughts in terms of preparation time, working out, exercise or conditioning you might do outside of what you do on?
If we're talking about actual exercise, come to juggling class. You don't have to have abs. It's great. You don't have to be hung from anything. There's no safety lines. The first trick you learn is how to drop and pose. That's it.
Circus arts are accessible to all. I wasn't joking.
When I'm in full swing of things, I tend to run 4 to 5 times a week, but just 2.5 miles. Let's not get carried away. But then I spend, research and development takes a lot of time and a lot of bruises, so that can take anywhere from 1 to 3 hours, depending on how much you want to put up with that. And then conditioning 3 to 4 times a week for an hour. And then stretching as often as you can handle it, which should be every day. Days off are very important. You should do those things too.
I guess my workout recently consists of swimming. That's kind of one of my favorite side things other than this. But when it comes to training and conditioning, I probably train for these acts and things that I do performance-wise 3 days a week or so for about 3 or 4 hours, roughly, depending on how much I want to condition and how much I want to, again, bruise up before it hurts quite a bit sometimes.
And a question to the gentleman in the hat?
Yes, when you mentioned the circus, I was expecting to see tigers and lions and clowns. Well, don't you have an act maybe with cats and dogs or somebody dressed up as a lion, like the Wizard of Oz? Thank you.
Only behind closed doors. I think right now we're celebrating our individual circus artists. I don't know if we quite have our pets trained and ready to go. Elizabeth?
I actually did a show once with someone dressed as a tiger doing aerial tissue, which is the last act that you did, that you saw. So, yeah, I've thought about exactly that.
Costume opportunities are endless. All right, do we have time for maybe 1 or 2 more?
Yes, hello.
Hello.
My question is, where are your camps located?
Where are our camps located?
So many of us teach a range of wonderful places, aerial and circus studios, really all over the country. But we have a big school down by the Navy Yard that's called Trapeze School New York in Washington, D.C. And they do have a big camp program. The very first day of camp started today, so we're all very excited. They do sell out very quickly, so your next opportunity would be actually February 1st at midnight to sign up for next summer. However, we do have kids programming all throughout the year, including all-day circus experiences on days when schools are closed and other classes. Almost every day of the week there's some programming that would be the right fit. So we'd love to tell you more about it if you're interested. There's all sorts of great opportunities to join the circus.
Absolutely. Let's see. It looks like we have time for perhaps one more question. diet.
Laura?
We eat a lot, guys.
That is why I run.
That's why I swim. A lot of Chipotle.
Yeah. You know, I think one of the joys, I can't speak for everyone, but I will speak for myself in terms of how much circus artists work out, how strong we get, how frequently we train, is, man, we can eat.
Would it be fair to generalize that most of us eat a fair amount of vegetables, grains, and proteins, and then maybe a side of junk that kind of goes with that for sure? Is that fair? Did I do it okay?
Yes.
Yeah. And French fries. I mean, obviously.
More or less. Ooh, ice cream too. Yeah.
Everything in moderation, right, guys? All right, well, I am going to close it out. You have been an amazing audience. I hope we have inspired you. I hope we have educated you. And I hope you're all going to go not only check out the Smithsonian Folklife Festival, which is going on, I believe, for the next 2 weeks, but check out the DC circus scene. Maybe take a class for yourself, understand these circus arts and how there is a spot even for you. Thank you so much. Have a great night.